And with that, I think we should be live. A little finicky with the whether or not it wants me to press start streaming or not. But, in any case, greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I am joined by the Darkest Light. We'll see if anyone else strolls in as we go. Uh, AIM? How the hell? I posted this 2 minutes ago. Well, greetings and welcome to you, AIM. Yes, yes. We're discussing Inti and I guess folk religions. I suspect that folk religions means just all of the generic religions that they don't put a ton of unique mechanics for. So how they work. Missed the entire stream. Yes, you missed the whole thing. How goes it in Saskatchewan? Yes, yes. It's amazing in Saskatchewan as always. Yes, it's a pleasure to see you. Yes, I love it here in Saskatchewan, my favorite prairie province.
Wait, I thought Manitoba was.
Okay, Manitoba has the benefit of the fact that they have an interesting geography, and they in their bogs they grow rice. So that's actually kind of neat. They grow rice in cold bogs. That's cool. Saskatchewan is just smaller Alberta. So and it's less interesting. It's just all flat. No.
Oh, so it's Oklahoma.
Sure, whatever that is. Yeah.
That's like shittier Texas. That's right next door to Texas.
It's the Oklahoma. It's Alberta's Oklahoma. Yeah.
The only thing it has that Texas doesn't have are Native American casinos.
Damn.
Because those are illegal in Texas.
Well, we've got a lot of those here, so. The Blackfoot reserves are really big, so there's a lot of them. Saskatchewan has a better name, too. Fuck you! I'm a #1 fan. It says he's the #1 fan. #1 fake. More like, yeah. But let's get started. So today, we're discussing, first of all, the Inti religion. I believe they'll bring up other ones as we go, because folk religions, but first of all, we're focusing on Inti, which it's quite a unique religion that stands out in the Peruvian region, they say. More like dominates the hell out of it. I wonder how many countries you'll actually that will actually be playable. Will have different religions. I doubt it's many, because I don't see many borders outlining many of the regions that don't have Inti. And these other ones are probably just going to be worse. Like, got him. Yeah, I know, Timo. I got him. I always do. No one messes with the bald man. Jeez, can you imagine playing any of these countries with a different faith and you need to convert the entire Andes away from Inti? This place probably has a decent population density.
They mentioned their population right below there. In the next one. There are currently 3.479 million Inti pops in the world.
Yeah, it's nothing compared to, like, France region
you
for
add
pop
in
density.
The other religions, it's probably like 4 million in the Andes area.
Yeah, there couldn't be more than like 600K of the other faiths that are in the Andes, or 600K of the other ones. Probably not that dense in most parts of the coast. Yeah, exactly. It's all dense up in the mountains, centered around the places that have Inti, like near Cuzco, I imagine. But this faith apparently is part of the. Wait, what? It's part of the Peruvian folk religion group? What? As opposed to what? As opposed to the just normal Peruvian religions? What? Oh, yes they are, Timo. They very much are adding special plague mechanics. Because, yeah, the Black Death is gonna exist real close to game start. Well, and the Black Death kills off roughly 50% of the population that it hits, unless you prepare for it. Well, it's like 90. It's like 90% of people in North America are going to die when they come into contact with the Great Pestilence, quote unquote. Um, you're going to be in an immense amount of fucked, to put it in the most kind way possible. You are going to be so screwed when the Europeans show up and your entire population just falls over.
Just don't die.
True. All you need to do is research hospitals, which honestly, it might be possible. It might be possible to research it because you don't need. I don't think you're going to need an institution for that. I imagine that it's something that's early game in the age of Renaissance, and you can probably just grab it without needing to, because there's things that need institutions and there's things that don't, and I imagine that like the medicine stuff will be in the generic Age of Renaissance field. Don't know for sure though, but it's going to be really shitty. And that'll be part of the challenge. Everyone loves a good challenge, right? So, this religion, of course, slaves working with raw materials. It's good and all that, but no unrestricted slavery. You can't. So I guess that means that you can't have Inti slaves. They need to be of other faiths. Because
possibly.
Because this one. Yeah, exactly. So the Nahua ritualism, they've got unrestricted slavery. So yeah, I read I looked up there was a comment on the Nahua religions page where a dev confirmed, I think it was Pavia, confirmed that unrestricted slavery means that you can have slaves of your own religion as well. So yeah, Inti can have slaves working with raw materials, but not slaves of a different faith. So you are of your own faith. So I guess you can have a pretty limited amount of access to slaves then, because you're going to be only able to enslave the people of these other religions, which not that many. I mean, there's a lot of them, but not that many pops. But the actual modifiers you get other than that, army reinforcement cost, that's like, that's fine, I guess, but the movement speed. The movement speed is where they're cooking. I
gotta
like
have that mountain walking.
Exactly. You gotta build some good roads on the mountains and then zoom. Everyone loves to zip zap zippity zoom all over the mountains. Also the maximal amount of female spouses. +4. That's funny. Same amount of spouses as in CK3, and again, I've said before. Yeah, I want to add a place. There's a particular place I got planned in our mod for EU5 that's gonna have maximum just whatever the max number of spouses you can have. That's what we're gonna have them use. We'll have the maximum amount of possible spouses, both male or female, and also the worst kind of partition that we can cook up. So here is further proof that exists and that you can base it on sex. Though I have to make our own people. Wait. Doom?
What? Huh.
Allows Doom to impact country. Are you kidding me?
That's something.
If we scroll through this, Dark, if we scroll through this, and they have the exact same Doom mechanic that the Aztecs have, which is already bad.
Not how it works, or the Inti.
I will be rather upset, to put it mildly, if the freaking Inti worshippers need to have a bunch of vassals that send them slaves so that they can do mass sacrifices of slaves to appease the gods. Otherwise, you murder the king and his family. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Can we just end this here? Can we just end this here? I don't want to look.
we go.
I don't want to see. I don't want to have it. I don't want to have it be true. No. Oh. Religion, conversion rate, tolerance. Yeah. Religion modifiers. I don't see Doom. I don't see Doom in here. Yeah, religion modifiers was listed Doom there. So, please tell me this isn't just reflavored Doom. Please tell me this is actually different, and that it's just a Loke error. Like it's just a Loke error. Right?
Hopium.
It's just a it's just a Loke error. It still says Doom. The game's still.
Hopium.
Oh, I am in big hopium. Yes. Okay. Yeah, religious aspects, celebrate a ritual, pilgrimage, host a ceremony. That's all cool. That's all cool. The most important mechanic of the Inti religion is Yanatin, which is a value that goes from minus 100 to plus 100. You mostly get penalties if you go above or below 0, but it gives the most modifiers when it's exactly and perfectly balanced at 0. Okay, it's a Buddhist.
So it's karma.
They're Buddhist.
All right.
The balance between two complementary but opposing entities following the mindset of the Andean cultures. Harmony can only be achieved when a being, a man, a darkness, when a being, a man, darkness, the sun, finds its complement and joins it. A woman, light, the moon. Oh!
Why is the sun darkness
Okay.
and the moon the light?
Because men are evil, and they're the sun.
Oh, because the sun casts shadows. True. True.
The brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Snip.
So, I take it that the Inti are not particularly fond of non-straight grouping.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
No, it seems very unbalanced from their perspective.
Dark, you mean to say that the people who think that the only way that a person can be like achieve any sort of inner harmony is by being joined with the other sex?
True.
You think that those people would have particular preconceived notions?
Nah.
I think that they
Never.
I think they'd be fine with that. Yeah. Oh dear. What is that modifier?
Huh.
Okay. One at a time. One at a time. So if it's at 0, you get control, prestige. That's great. Great. And if it's above 0, you get less legitimacy and rebel growth, and it scales worse. Okay, so if you get to if you get to 100%, then I guess I guess you have a lot of rebels who will just be mad at you just because. Rebel growth rate is a bad modifier to have. That is not something you want. I'd like to see a culture map of the Andes, you know? I want to see what it looks like again, because as long as you aren't, like, even tolerating a culture, if it's the majority culture in a region, does not let you core it. You need to either accept them or assimilate them. So, I don't know what the cultural diversity of the Andes is, but this rebel growth would be a very bad if it's a quite divided population. But if you have Yanatin below 0, you get all of the rich folk are unhappy, but the peasants become just.
The peasants love you. It seems like while it wants you to be in the middle, going below is far better than going above.
I don't know. Um, because sure, control growth is great and all, but 80%
The
peasant
peasants will never
satisfaction?
rebel. Ever.
I mean, the problem with that is it means that the only people that whenever a rebellion does happen, that it will literally only be armed and dangerous individuals, but still, um, the people who rebel most often are peasants, so. Oh no, the 20 nobles revolted. hey, 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 the thing is, Rasak, when a revolt happens, it creates a new tag. So that new tag will have a rebel army, but they'll still be able to recruit more levies from that land. So it's just the initial troops and the nature of the revolt that's bad. That like so if it's a peasant revolt, their initial army will be a bunch of shitty peasants, especially if peasants aren't allowed to bear arms, and they'll basically be incapable of raising noble levies. I imagine if in a peasants' republic is what it probably will be, unless they're seceding to a different tag. Um, but if the nobles are revolting, then well, you got yourself a full-on monarchy that's revolting on your hands. Uh, they'll still have dangerous troops. Yeah. Good to see you, Rasak, of course. Thanks for stopping by. But it depends. So yeah, what are the modifiers? Depending on the gods that you worship, from the 7 available, you get positive or negative. Oh, I like this. That's interesting. So depending on the gods that you're worshiping and getting modifiers from, it gives you different directions. Okay. So you can try and find the balance based on like what you're worshiping. But I'm sure you get dynamic events that'll cause it to go up and down as well. But Inti gives you negative, which is a good. Okay. And the base is plus 0.5? Yeah, yeah. Apart from that, the worship of each god gives you passive modifiers to the country. We're rocked. So, yeah, the monthly positive or negative. Stability investment cost, 10% is pretty nice. I like that. The pop growth is really small. That's a very tiny amount. The character life expectancy of 2, again, not a very big modifier. This seems pretty trash by comparison to the ones next to it, which is crazy for Inti to be one that I don't like. I just don't know how big a 0.02% pop growth is. I don't think that's going to be a very high modifier. So.
So, 0.02 of 1 million is 20,000. Now, we don't know precisely how this is calculated.
I don't
but
think it's on a nationwide basis. Yeah.
if we assume, well, this is a nationwide modifier,
Yes, but
a
it's
0.02% bonus. So if you assume
okay.
that it's, let's say, growth in a year, you are increasing growth by 20,000 for every million people per year.
I mean, if you've got a small country, this is not going to be good. But I can see your point that once you have a big number becomes bigger.
Well, I also speak as someone that's played a lot of Victoria 2 and 3, where at the start of the game, your pop growth's only going to be like 3,000, 4,000. It's very slow. And growths of like 0.01 are considered like amazing to get your hands on.
You
And
know,
people will rush that tech first.
Rasak isn't wrong either that stacking pop growth can scale fast because I do recall seeing some things. I think I've seen like in the pre-release footage that has been shown where there's some early techs that give you boost to pop growth as well, and there's those buildings that you can make in low population rural areas that give you an increase pop growth. So there's a lot of ways that you can stack it if you're trying to make it your priority to get a ton of people. Hmm. Just see it as negating war losses. I mean, yeah, if you're using a bunch of levies Like if you're, mind you, people will die from war whether or not you use levies. They'll die in like, you know, battles happen in a region, pops die no matter what. But and it helps you recoup from that if you're having a levy focused game for a while. But I mean, all three of these are pretty nice, to be honest. Scaling with it. Yeah, I guess the point is you don't want it to get too low. Because if you, yeah, you really wouldn't want to get too low either, because as nice as making the peasants love you is, making the entire rest of your influential people uh, be upset is not a good in neither the prestige. So, yeah. And that's what taking the other ones is for. So, separatism, prosperity, eh, Navy morale, no. No, I don't. That's not going to be relevant for the Inca.
Value!
No. Mm-mm.
Gotta sink the Spanish fleet! Defeat the Spanish galleons! Your canoes!
New World Peasant Republic, here we go. Yes, exactly. The New World Peasant Republic of the Inca shall rise. Oh, dear. The Diplo cap sounds nice, at least. You were using one of those building blocks we talked about before, religious aspect in a way that promotes the worship of a certain god, which has the consequence of increasing their effects, therefore being one of the ways to balance the Yanitin of the country. So you choose which one to worship as your patron god. So you just get one at a time. Only promote the worship of one god at a time and changing in cost stability. Yikes! Oh, oh boy! I mean, everyone early game is gonna pick the army morale one because you're gonna want that to help you and like actually win battles until you get into a position where you aren't gonna be needing it. I guess that's probably what the early game's gonna be like. Yeah, numbers, balance, and work in progress, yeah. Another way of balancing the Yanitin of your country is by performing any of the available actions. Okay. Celebrating a ritual changes. It's not saying which direction it changes the Yanitin in, but gives cost prestige to do it. It's like our prestige and resources.
It probably changes it just in the direction towards 0.
That would make sense, yeah. Oh, you choose which one. So you choose a god to favor in the ritual, and then it moves you in that direction.
I'm not. Never mind.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe you're in a race to the bottom or top kind of thing, for some reason. Yeah. Prosperity also is very good early. Well, I don't know. The thing is, Rasak, you would need to... So, you're functionally then spending a bunch of stability to give yourself prosperity, because the idea is like you equip that patron god, and then you're going to want to get rid of it when your country's prosperous. But then it costs stability, and then losing stability, I think, reduces prosperity. So it's kind of a trap, isn't it? I don't know for sure, but I think losing stability reduces prosperity in EU5. I'm not certain. Don't remember for sure how that works. Holy site to pay a visit to. Oh, that's a lot more of a bonus. Or change, rather. It costs money instead. And hosting a ceremony, you gain a modifier for a year. Ceremonial festival is celebrated on a monthly basis, each time revolving around a different topic. This time we'll invest the power of the government and make it larger than usual. So, yes, the king of the big investment in the festival, and then you get a modifier for it. Oh, well, speaking of modifier stacking, what were we just talking about? Population growth stacking? If you host this ceremony, then it gives you a 0.1% pop growth stacking bonus. So, hey, take Inti. You start by taking Inti as your patron god, and then you host ceremonies whenever possible, and then eh. Honestly, at this point, if I was as long as I was playing an Inti country that I felt confident in warfare wise, I'd just pick Inti and then do these ceremonies so that I can get my pop growth to start stacking up early. Because it's not like you need to be blobbing early. If anything, if anything, focusing on pop growth as much as you can early would be the way to go because it's not like you have to worry about the Black Death at the beginning. So get your, yeah, you know, it's going to take a long time before the Europeans show up. So get your pop growth up now. The higher your population when the Europeans arrive, the more people you'll have
More
left
corpses
after
you have to bury.
the more corpses you'll have to bury, but the more people will be left after the dust settles. Core culture pop, larger better. Exactly, and your starting territory is going to be of your core culture. So the more of that you pop, you bump up, the better, because then when you conquer other lands, it'll be easier for you to export some of your people to those lands and help make it loyal. I know that's definitely going to be a strategy of mine. I think that one of my strategies is probably going to involve trying to max pop growth early so that when I do conquer stuff, if I'm not turning it into a vassal, I would conquer that new land and then encourage migration from like my population center to that new territory while yeah, so first you expel people from that new territory, then send more people to that tile, and then so then you know, once it becomes your own core culture, uh, then you start to build up that particular tile into a fortified capital of whatever the province is, so that it stays loyal. Yes, imperialism. There's many examples from history of people doing that sort of thing that I would learn from. Yes, uh, but there is also the good old fashioned just make them a vassal instead, or take the cultural conversion process, which takes a lot longer. Takes a lot longer, but also gives you you get to keep the pops. There are 13 different festivities with different modifiers. Which one you get when you host a ceremony depends on the time of year. Oh, so I need to like stare at the month. I need to stare at which month of the year it is and be like, all right, click it now. And now we talk about folk religions.
God, it's so short by comparison to Nawa.
What?
Inti was so short compared to Nahua.
Yeah, it's true. They didn't talk about needing to reform it. So hey, there's that. You get that going for you at least. Though you don't get any special troops because of being the religion.
Literally crying.
Yeah. More calendar nonsense. At least it's a different one. I love calendar stuff though. You gotta track which month of the year it is and then press the button. Very large sections of the world are covered by, quote, folk religions. The new denomination of what formerly in EU4 were animist, pagan, or totemist religions, and that we've been able to set up thanks to your feedback in the Tinto Map series. Due to the huge amount of folk religions, we're focusing on the gods and religious aspects as building blocks for these folk religions. We're aiming to have some baseline gods based upon spirits, which are based upon natural forces, wind, water, fire, sun, etc. And then we'll have some of the main gods for folk religions, families. So, as in this example, the country of Benin worships Isese, the Isese religion. It has a number of deities to worship upon, because I guess, yeah, we've got some actual examples, maybe. So they're using some actual examples instead of just the generic worship the wind god, I guess. Oh dear. And Huh. Huh, isn't that interesting? Does it look familiar to you guys?
Yeah.
Huh. Where have I seen that before? Any of these numbers remind you of
Inti,
anything? Huh, weird.
Inti is just El Generico.
Huh, weird. Weird how that works. Huh.
They don't care about Inti. No!
No! He is the same modifiers as Obatala!
It's just generic! Why do they even bother having a diary on Inti if it's just a generic mechanic?
You see, Inti is just it's just a folk religion plus. After all, it's in the folk religious family. Oh dear. Oh dear. Where's the modifiers for following this religion, huh? I want to see what the modifiers for Issei are. I want to see if they remind me of anything else in particular. Folk religion with good PR. And that's all for today. Oh, this is sad. This is sad, gamers, as Dark would say.
Is
Truly one of the dev diaries of all time.
Ah! Nem is here. Nem jump scares. Anyone else in here? Okay. No. Scared me. Eh. Truly the dev diary of all time. But on Friday, the Tinto flavor for the Inca comes out, so that's good. That's good. The Finnish folk religion name just means ancient faith slash belief. Well, it's true. It's the ancient way. They always end this with wish list EU5 now. Is anything else worth looking at in here? Some research, curious to folk religions, see other folk religions as heretics or heathens. They use the base mechanics, which means that different religions in the same religious group are considered heretics, and in different religious groups, heathens. Set up the religious groups differently as they're scriptable and thus moddable. Well, yes, of course.
a fat rogue.
Oh, a fat rogue. Why is why is none of these capitalized, but rogue is? I'm confused. A fat rogue. A fat rogue. Whoa, there's a lot of them. The African folk religions is a huge family. Yikes.
That is a lot, yeah.
I also forgot about the fact that religions as well as cultures can get positive and negative opinions of each other. So that affects the specific tolerance of each other. So, and I know that with cultures, you can do a diplomatic action that will cause the primary culture of the country you're interacting with and your culture to start to like each other more, which is pretty neat. That's definitely something you could do to make it easier to accept and tolerate people. Diplomax. Heretic, heretic, heretic. Heathen. 254 different folk religions, which mostly have an impact on the pop systems and mechanic. Wow. So this is their way of saying no, they're not all gonna have their own icons. Okay, I mean, we gotta have icons for all of our folk religions, though, so. No. I'm not gonna call them folk religions. It's okay, Dark, you'll get over Inti just being El Generico folk religion guy. You'll get over it. I know you will.
Literally crying.
You're strong.
We're gonna have to wait until DLC comes out. Can't wait for Conquest of Paradise 2.
Conquest of Paradise 2. It comes out a year after EU5 launches.
Or maybe even El Dorado 2. Or even worse,
The conquest.
Leviathan too.
They'll call it the conquest. The conquest of El Dorado. Yes.
No,
It's
Leviathan too. Electric
Yes.
blue glue.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I do not like Leviathan. No. Peruvian folk religions. Good point. Just changed it. I didn't think about that. Peruvian instead of Andean. It seems a little obvious in retrospect. 18 different folk religious groups. Jeez, yeah, because there's so many. Oh, here's another Thanatos. Another Thanatos comment. Really don't get this fixation with adding religious currencies. Oh, because the Inti have the movement sideways. I don't think that they have I wouldn't describe that as a religious currency. I'd say I think that's different because the religious currency are things like the um using aspects like you get your apply your aspects of faith because you have enough religious influence or something. Because the Protestants, I think, use a currency to apply their aspects of faith, and then the Catholics do all their interactions with a currency as well. Um, but I feel that it's different. But, what can we use for its currency mechanic? Piety, karma, doom, yanatin, mysticism, spiritualism, etc. Don't feel like these currencies add anything really, and they're just so abstract. I don't think it's fair to call them. It's unfair to call them mana. Wait for the Polynesian faiths when they actually use the word mana. True. Uh, If religions was just a modifier, people would complain about that. Yeah, this people would be quite unhappy if religions didn't have mechanics behind them. This is the first time I might disagree with Thanatos. Oh my goodness. Golly gee, guys. Like the Pantheons, and I'm excited to see the work that went into the nameless for them. And more in-depth mechanics, such as that is the thing that I agree with him on for sure is having more unique like mechanics, such as the idea of mummification. Ruler dies. You get to choose what to do based on the when they die. How do you commemorate their death, kind of thing. That sort of thing that's not hard to code either. It's fair to have that opinion. We've been presented these religion-related Tinto talks in the last couple of months to get community, trying to improve them as much as possible based on feedback. That said, I think the mana currency debate is not entirely productive. We've already been moving away in EU5 from the most important mana use mechanic in EU4 monarch points, and tying a lot of the systems and mechanics to a more simulationist approach. However, we'll still need to work with currencies such as prestige, stability. Yeah, makes sense. I agree. I agree with what Pavi is saying this time. And a Matt for comment to close out. Just the maximum amount of spouses modifier, including the basic one consort that everyone gets. Just additional consorts. The base one. So in the case of Inti, it's 4 consorts and 1 male consort total. Other religions, as Islam, have similar modifiers, although they're tied to policies in the marriage law. Okay. And in countries with the Inti faith, they'll also get Inti marriage law instead of a direct modifier. That sounds good as well. I like that. That means that you can adjust it as well, and that means that in the case of our mod, the people that are supposed to have a large number of spouses will be able to change. They'll be able to reform their law for that as well if they want to get started on trying to not partition so badly. Laws are cool. I agree. I agree. I really want to try messing around with that when it comes to modding the game, because there's a lot of people I want to give some absolutely horrendous laws at game start that will take you a lot of time to get rid of, and new ones that will unlock as the game goes on when certain things happen. So there will be lots of people that and that's one of the ways that I'm most interested in trying to restrict larger countries, so that if you play a lot of the time when you play smaller countries, you won't be hampered by as many bad laws. Um, Most of the time, the newer countries are smaller in our setting, so those are newer countries starting out, and they don't have as much history that needs to be tied into laws that are restrictive. But some of the big countries you can restrict with laws that they need to work their way with stability and time and making the estates happy and such to get out of. And that's all interesting and nuanced game mechanics that force you to think and weigh your options. That sort of thing is always interesting to me. I like that sort of challenge. Uh, there's one of the being able to tie that sort of thing to faiths as well is going to be so fun, because it will mean that theoretically for some countries that will have bad laws, they'll be tied to a religion, so you'd have an option to maybe swap out of that religion as a quicker way to try and solve the problem, while giving you other issues. So it's bringing to mind the idea of maybe there's a country that doesn't really have much of this other religion in it, but you're starting to, like, maybe there's events based around hearing about this religion and how smoothly their policies work or some bullshit. I don't know. The point being that you hear that religion doesn't have these law difficulties that you're working with, so you get a choice to swap to this religion even though there's barely any people in my country who follow it, and then you swap one problem, that being you have the bad laws that you need to get rid of, and you swap that problem for the other problem of now you have this new religion and no one in your country is following it. So, So you want to see the limits of things you can tie to religions and cultures? Yeah! Even the nuance of the fact that, like, cultures and religions can have opinions of each other, and those can change based on diplomatic actions and other things. I'm sure that wars will be one example of how that can change. Like, if enough wars take place between two particular cultures, I'm sure that they will become quite negatively disposed to each other. Who knows what sort of things could affect that? Dynamic historical events also, I'm sure. I would love to mess around with that. We've already got multiple ideas planned for situations in our setting where there's going to be choices that will be going on in the early game that will honestly change. There's a couple cultures that really like each other at game start, but based on the choices of one ruler and what they get up to, will potentially make them become hated, bitter rivals, despite having been friends for millennia. A basic question: can we tie units to them? Well, that much we've seen, that there's because Rasak, as I'm sure you're aware, you know even more than I do. Like, I know a lot about EU5 stuff, but you know more than me, and I'm sure you've seen that there's a lot, like, you can tie advances to a culture or a faith. So the idea being, if you start an age, I don't think you're able to, like, swap. That's the one thing. I don't think you're able to, like, if there's a early game unit in, like, Age of Traditions, you can't in the Age of Renaissance swap to it, or even at game start swap to it, and then instantly get that unit or get that tech, because you get the techs for the next age depending on what you moved into it starting as. I think that's how they've explained it. So you can't, if you're in the early game, like, play as England, or like Durham, because I like Durham. I think that's cool. It's a theocracy in North England. Somehow you play as those Northumbrian guys, and you break free of England, and you swap your culture to Scottish. If the Scots have a unique unit, you wouldn't be able to culture swap to them and then get the advance from them, because you didn't swap to them before the age that unit gets unlocked in. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, at least. So it would be, I'd be curious to see if it's what other ways we could tie units to them, so that maybe it would be possible to get them in a method like that. But anyway, I am rambling quite off topic from this now, but yeah. That's what we're here for, I suppose.
Joffrey the Rambler.
No. I miss Alex the
Joffrey the
Rambler,
Rambler.
Mr. Smart Donkey.
Alex the Rambler. You're like the same person.
I miss Mr. Smart Donkey and Alex the Rambler.
Suffer. Suffer.
Right. But with that, I think we can wrap this one up here. So, well, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye! See you Friday for more Inca stuff. Bye-bye!